But anyway, I'm pleased to meet you again. And how have you been?
I've been great. I've been practicing my English all that time. So,
Mhm.
yes, I was missing session with you. So, I scheduled one session with you and looking forward to it.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm quite glad, and I don't even remember when was the last time we met, but I think a couple
Long
of
ago, actually, I guess in
yeah.
the month of September or October last year.
Really. Oh, okay, okay.
That time
But
I
I
started
do.
my English learning journey, actually.
Okay, okay. And I do remember vividly because you seem to be a popular face on YouTube as well.
Right, right. I
Yeah,
have a
so
YouTube
I have
channel.
come across some of your videos, and I really happen to enjoy the kind of sessions that you have with other tutors.
Really? That's surprising. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for watching.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I get to learn a lot of things as well.
Oh my God.
All right. So
Okay.
yeah, how's the day going today?
The day has been quite well for me. I have accomplished quite a few tasks and it's been productive. I have
Mhm.
taken one session as well for my YouTube channel. So,
Mhm.
yes, once I'm done with one session a day, I feel so content because this is what I can accommodate. Like this much only I can accommodate in a day. So, that's why I'm feeling content because I'm done with that session and looking forward to the day actually.
Okay. So you take two sessions a day normally?
One session a day, and this session I have booked a long ago, so I couldn't reschedule it, although I had scheduled another session at this time, but then both the sessions were clashing, so I
Mhm.
canceled that one because I could not cancel this one.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. And how's your YouTube going?
All well. The YouTube is also flourishing day by day. I have now 21K subscribers
Wow.
on my
That
channel.
okay. Wow. That's great. That's great. Okay. I'm sure that you have been able to garner a lot of attention over the period of how long have you been running a YouTube channel, by the way?
It's been around 10 months now.
Oh, 10 months. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
That's an amazing number in just 10 months. 21K. It's not a small number.
Right. That was
Isn't it?
surprising for me as well because I never imagined this thing.
Uh-huh.
I started that channel all of a sudden with no intention of gaining this many subscribers.
Uh-huh.
But you feel so surprised when you gain a lot of love from people and they engage in your content a lot, actually. They support me a lot. They give me suggestions. And I'm going to talk about one problem that they face, my learners or my audience face. So we're going to talk about that as well. So I
Mhm.
have kept that for today's session.
Certainly. Yeah. So would you
Mhm.
like to talk about it?
Yes, so many people they ask me for classes, but I cannot accommodate many people. So that is why I tell them to practice your English on their own, actually. So I tell them that you should do more of listening practice
Uh-huh.
because I also believe in this thing, and I hear people say this thing that 80% of your English learning comprises of listening practice only. So let's talk about that only. And I would love to know your thought as well on this matter because I was about to share a solo video on my channel about this particular topic, but I thought that we should discuss and then we can come to a nice conclusion so that people could also get some meaning out of it. So you can
Mhm.
share your thoughts on this, like how to take up listening practice for beginners, how can they take it forward?
Okay, okay. Well, first thing first, I couldn't agree more with what you said. And I always believed in this idea of comprehensible input, right? You have to surround yourself with kind of content that you really understand and you enjoy. And over time, we have this ability to understand patterns. Our brain is very smart enough to understand patterns and build relationship with the words. And over time, we happen to build this understanding, and eventually, we'll be able to use it in our like the words and phrase and expression. We'll be able to use it in our conversation as well. So if you have this understanding, then definitely we'll be able to speak. But
Mhm.
most people, what they think is that okay, they have to speak and speak and speak and speak and all the time, right? Of course, it helps. That's kind of practice we need. But I think without listening, there's no speaking. There has to
Mhm.
be one way or the other. Some form of input has to be there. Reading, listening,
Mhm.
combined, much better.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I
I've
feel.
also, yes, yes. I've also heard many tutors saying that you should listen more and speak less. So do you agree with that?
I think it should be equal.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you would want to definitely improve your speaking skills, right? So listening has to be there, of course, right? And if you can speak maybe the same amount or maybe a little more, then yeah, that's even better. What the
Mhm.
input and output. So there has to be some form of consumption and ultimately production as well, either in the form of writing or speaking, and input in the form of reading and listening.
Mhm.
This is something that I have really applied in my own life and have been able to reach a level where I think I'm doing well, and but I still have a long way to go.
Mhm.
So sometimes you're not never satisfied of your own skills, of your own level.
Right, right. I also completely agree to that because when you are a beginner, then you need to have a lot of input so that you
Um,
could also provide an output. So you need to listen more and more.
yeah.
But here, one confusion comes that should we listen to different videos or can we listen to one video on a loop? Because I met one person and he told me that he used to listen to one video 200 times, one podcast 200 times. So that
Um,
was really surprising fact. And like, is it really meaningful to listen to one video 200 times, or you can watch different, or you can listen to different videos?
okay, well, I have two methods in particular. So there, in any kind of practice, you have one intensive form of practice and extensive. Okay, intensive is what you do repeatedly. For example, this 200 times, I think it's quite a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
even if you can listen to or watch something maybe 4 or 5 times, it's enough because once again, you're training your mind to find the patterns in the language, right? So that's your deliberate form of practice, right? But how long can you go doing like that, right? Sometimes it gets very monotonous and it gets very boring as well, and you need to have strong will to carry on doing 200 times. Sometimes you enjoy the entire listening process or watching a movie for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that comes that is how you're practicing passively. You're not being very active, right? So you just take in the language, you enjoy the process with
Mm-hmm.
the help of movies or listening to music or even listening to some long form podcast nowadays. These podcasts are 1 hour, 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
2 hour long, isn't it? Right?
Right, right.
Combining these two things, I believe, shows great results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also, like, if any video is a motivational video, then you
Uh,
can listen to it 200 times because you can simply save it and you can listen to it every morning. So
uh,
then it can come true, right?
yes, of course, of
Uh-huh.
course.
Right. But as a beginner, I would also suggest that you should not watch the video just once, not listen to that video just once, but do it repeatedly so that you could gain the most out of it, and
Yeah.
then note down like
Uh,
whatever important things for you in that video, like any new word, any new expression, vocabulary, you can simply note it down and revise it over time, right? Mhm.
yes, yes.
But for beginners also, they also struggle with accent problem. Actually, they are not
Accent.
able to yes, accent problem. So they are not able to understand native speakers, and the YouTube is also flooded with many videos, abundance of videos. So they find it really difficult to choose which video or which audio they have to listen to. So could you please help in that way?
Okay, I'll just share my experience because when I first started watching English movies, even I didn't understand like the entire of the movie, so I had to depend on subtitles. But once again, this exposure, the longer you expose yourself, the better you have this ability to understand. So over a period of time, now I don't have to rely on subtitles. In
Mm-hmm.
some cases, yes, of course, because at times it gets very difficult to understand the native speakers as well, right? But you have to train your mind to first listen to native speakers, be it if you're watching any English content, right? Be it in a different accent, doesn't really matter. But you just have to get used to it. Even if you don't understand, it's okay. You just carry on, trust the process. And
Mm-hmm.
over time, because these things, they don't happen over a period of just few weeks or months. It takes time, right?
Right.
You're training your mind, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
just have to get used to it. And over time, you will be surprised that you will have definitely improved upon your listening skills as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So sometimes you have to challenge yourself. For 1 month, let's say you're watching a movie with subtitles. Next month, try to challenge yourself. Just remove the subtitles and see how you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right, right, definitely. Because you have to get familiar with English language first. You have to be familiar with how this English language sounds,
Yeah.
right? And then slowly and gradually, definitely you'll understand over time. But it's just that people don't have patience. They want instant results. So that is why, they are always banging their heads on the wall, like why I'm not able to understand things. But
Uh,
definitely it will take some time. You need to have patience.
yeah, that's true.
Right.
So when I
Al-
get a demo session over here, I'm so sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. I
No,
just
no.
wanted to make one point here. So whenever I have new learners joining me and they say, okay, and I ask them first, okay, how long do you think it's gonna take? They say maybe 3 months, 4 months, right? And I tell them, no, I think it's gonna take you more than a year, and they are all discouraged. But I just want to let them know that you need to have realistic expectations, and you need to be here for the long haul, not taking sessions every day. I'm not saying that you have to keep on taking sessions throughout your life, but this practice, right? People meet me for only 25 minutes, 30 minutes a day, and that's not enough. You
Hmm.
can't expect to just show up for 25 minutes and improve English over a period of few months. That's not possible.
Right,
Your
right.
effort matters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I have also experienced this myself, because whenever I skip even a single day in my practice, I fumble the very next day. I become really nervous whenever I meet any fluent speakers. But then you have to give yourself some positive affirmations every day. You have to practice every day. You have to revise every day. Push yourself to remember things that you have learned over time,
Yeah,
right? Otherwise, it will all go to your passive memory. And you need to bring it back to your active memory by making some efforts only. Without effort, nothing can happen, right?
that's
So
true.
definitely that's true. It is going to take a lifetime, I would say, if you
Yeah,
want to be if you want to master any language,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Oh,
felt
mm-hmm.
because you know that this is my profession, right? I've been doing this for more than 5 years, and I speak for around 8 to 10 hours every day. Let's
Right.
let's say maybe for a week or so, not for a week, even for 2 or 3 days, I don't happen to work. The
Mm-hmm.
next day, I feel there's a slight slump in my confidence.
Right, happens,
Yeah,
happens.
pretty.
And that's so natural because it's not our first language, right?
Yes,
So we
probably.
all are practicing in some or the other way,
Mm,
by
yeah,
classes or by conversing with co-learners. We all are practicing, and that's why we are able to improve a bit every day.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
My next question is,
uh-huh.
like, for beginners, if whenever I share my experience, I tell them I listen to videos when I do my house chores,
Mhm.
or when I make my kids sleep on my lap. That time I listen to podcast or I read some books. So people take inspiration from them. Like, beginners take inspiration from them, and they do the same thing. They listen to videos passively. They are not doing it attentively, and then they experience that they are not able to learn anything. They are not able to get anything from that video, not able to comprehend. So for them, what is your suggestion? Do beginners need to listen to videos passively, or they need to be very attentive while listening practice?
In my opinion, they have to combine both, like I said. You need to have this kind of passive exposure as well, be it reading or listening, both. Sometimes we read for pleasure as well. Not necessarily we want to learn each and every word out there, right? So we read for pleasure. That is also because it's, once again, you are teaching your brain to understand new patterns, right? So, and like I would like to quote Sashi Tharoor over here. If one wants to develop their vocabulary, then they need to read extensively. A lot of stories, novels, fictions, whatever. Even if you don't understand a word, don't get caught up, right? Finding, okay, what's the meaning of this word? It's okay. If you come across that word in different, several contexts, your brain has this ability to understand and find patterns. At least you'll be able to guess,
Mm-hmm.
right? So extensive, this passive, what you said, that is also very important. But at the same time, if you are really serious about this, maybe accomplishing a certain target in a short period of time, then obviously you need to have some deliberate practice. For
Mm-hmm.
that, you need to sit down, watch a video, write down notes, prepare accordingly, and then my favorite way of practicing is that watching a video, right, taking notes, maybe a few words that you want to really want to learn, and after that explaining the video,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, be it a story, be it something else, whatever, you just need to explain it in your own language, in your own words. Yeah, that's
Right.
deliberate practice is required.
Right, and that's practical too. And when I started this journey, I also used to sit with paper and pen, and then used to turn on any video and writing down the notes and whatever I come across. But
uh,
over the period of time, I started feeling that mundane actually. I was not enjoying the process of
okay.
jotting down everything I'm coming across. So
uh,
then I just simply let that be. And I started watching just like that. I started listening to things just like that. And as you mentioned, Shashi Tharoor, I did the same process actually. Like I started guessing the meaning of that word in context. And
Mhm.
whenever you come across that word again, then you understand the new context as well. You know, you're using the same word in different context. So you come to know about that. So now I don't sit with pen and paper actually. And I'm not even very uh, conscious or worried about all the words I come across. I simply pick up whatever word interests me. Like if
Uh,
any word is interesting, if I want to use that word in my speaking, then only I learn about it. Otherwise, I let it go. Because I feel that you need not to learn each and every word in your dictionary,
true,
right?
true.
So by learning less as well, it's just that you have to communicate well. It's not important to learn each and everything. Like, what are your views on that?
I absolutely agree with you because there are so many words out there. It's practically impossible for us to learn each and every word out there. And some of them just sounds better when you are writing something, and speaking doesn't really matter. And you also
Mhm,
have to be considerate of your audience, of your
mhm,
listener. You know, the words that you are choosing to use, are you really doing justice to your listener? Are they able to understand those
mhm.
words that you're using? Yeah. So yeah,
Right,
it depends on the
definitely.
audience.
Okay. So can you throw some light on your English learning journey? Like back then when you started your English at that time, what were the channels or what were you listening to, I mean, when you started your journey?
Okay, I'll be very honest. I just watched a lot of movies, tons and tons of movies. I just immersed myself in this language, and I even uh, went to a point where I was not consuming any content in a different language. Yeah, even my mother tongue is Nepali. So I only restricted myself to use mother tongue in my house, just when I'm talking with my parents. Other than that, because I was really obsessed about this language, right? I really need it to become confident. I thought without this language, I will not amount to anything because, of course, in every phase of your life, you would really need to have this language, you know, in your arsenal as your skill, beat any kind of opportunities that you want to achieve. So yeah, so I was quite passionate about this, and I watched a lot of movies. I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I'm an ardent advocate of shadowing technique, the shadowing, the practice, right? And I used to do it a lot, the shadowing and mimicking. And I watched a lot of celebrity interviews.
Mm-hmm,
I draw a lot of inspiration from the likes of Shah Rukh Khan, Abhishek
mm-hmm,
Bachchan. You know, there are so many brilliant speakers out there. So
mm-hmm,
I'm sometimes in awe. Okay, wow, how well they speak. How, with so much of grace and composure, how effortlessly they are able to express themselves.
mm-hmm,
Right? And I watched a lot of their videos, and I tried to pick one or two expressions and phrases and learn their style and apply in my own practice, you know, whenever I
right.
will speak with somebody. So that's something.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, I'm also actually. You told me that you don't sit down with your pen and a paper, and you. But I've been doing that quite recently. So
Okay.
yeah, I always happen to do this. Not every day, but once or
Mm-hmm,
twice a week, whenever I'm coming across.
mm-hmm,
Let's say whenever I'm reading something, right? If I happen to
mm-hmm.
find one or two phrases, I just take a note of it and try to
Right.
make use of them in my conversation. Yeah.
Mhm. I also do that sometimes when I stress on the things that I have learned actually. Yesterday, I mean, last evening only, I was trying to remember things that I've learned over time because I noticed that there was a slight downfall in my level of confidence. So I was trying to remember vocabularies. I was trying to, inculcate all those vocabularies again in my conversation. So was doing that practice last evening. So I jotted down some, like
Mm.
trying to do that.
Yeah, this is something that we have to keep on doing. And the thing is, it's all about. Have you heard of spaced repetition?
And spaced repetition.
Yeah,
I
spaced.
heard of that, but I don't have clear idea about it. Would you like to share?
Well, it's all about doing the same activity over several intervals. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say you write a list of 5 words, for example. Okay, I don't recommend this to everybody because in a way sometimes I don't think it's practical to learn 5 words a day. So what I do
Mm-hmm.
is I write 5 words and I do it in a span of 1 week. So even if I'm learning 5 words, I do it in several intervals. So the moment I write it, I revise the next day and after
Mm-hmm.
2 days, and I just keep on revising because I tend to forget the words that I'm learning. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, that's spaced repetition in a
Mhm.
nutshell.
Right. So after a time of interval, you have to keep on revising those words,
Yeah,
because everybody forgets. Like, we
yeah,
are not robots. We tend to forget, right?
yeah.
That happens. Can we talk a little about importance of listening skill
I think it's very important. Yeah.
in communication skill?
Yeah.
Like, many a time I have seen that people don't listen to you carefully, and then they tend to answer in a very different manner. They take a detour, they start rambling around things, right?
Hmm.
So we can talk about that a little, how important it is, and how can we actually enhance our listening skills.
Yeah. Well, that's one skill I think we all are trying to work upon in a way, right? Because we often tend to really understand the gist of what the other person is trying to say. Sometimes we just wait for our turns to throw our ideas, okay, what the conversation is about, right? But yes, I think being patient with whoever you're speaking to helps a lot. What
Hmm.
actually they are trying to talk about, what actually they are trying to ask you for that matter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right. And it is said that, what do we say? Don't speak to reply, but speak to respond, something like that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't exactly remember, but yes.
You're
I
right.
mean, you have to respond. You don't have to react, right?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, so thank you for so much for such natural and practical tips. I
Okay.
chose you for this because I know I have seen your videos. You always give some practical tips. So
Oh,
that's why
yes.
you are the one for today's session. So
Okay.
thank you so much for that.
Okay. And so this video is going to YouTube, I believe.
Yes, it is going to be
Okay.
there. Hmm.
Okay. Wow. All right. So it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me as well.
Thank
Yes.
you. Have a great day ahead.
Wish you the same, and I hope to see you again in the future once again.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So
then bye.
bye bye. Wish you a beautiful day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.